Imagine a place in early 20th century America where black doctors ran their own hospitals, black lawyers owned their own firms, and black entrepreneurs built an entire self-sufficient economy from the ground up, creating more millionaires per capita than almost anywhere else in the nation. This wasn't a dream. It was a vibrant reality in Greenwood, Oklahoma, a place famously known as Black Wall Street. How did this incredible community come to be, flourishing amidst the most brutal era of racial segregation? It started with a land run of 1,889, as thousands rushed into the former Indian Territory, many of them black Americans seeking new beginnings and escaping the oppressive Jim Crow laws of the Deep South. They envisioned a future of freedom and prosperity. The territory offered a unique opportunity for black people to own land and establish towns, a stark contrast to much of the rest of the country where such opportunities were systematically denied. Early pioneers like O.W. Burley, a wealthy black landowner, bought 40 acres of land in 1906, intending to create a settlement exclusively for black residents. His vision laid the groundwork for Greenwood. The name Greenwood itself came from the land's lush green appearance, symbolizing hope and fertile ground for growth. But it was the foresight of another prominent black businessman, J.B. Stratford, often called the father of Black Wall Street, that truly cemented its economic foundation. He believed in the power of buying black long before the term was coined. Stratford, a graduate of Oberlin College and a shrewd entrepreneur, moved to Tulsa in 1899. He purchased substantial real estate, including a large hotel and other businesses, all catering to and employing black residents. His philosophy was simple. Money spent within the black community should circulate as many times as possible before leaving, creating a self-sustaining economic engine. This principle of internal capital circulation became the bedrock of Greenwood's success. It meant that a dollar spent at a black-owned grocery store might then pay the salary of a black employee, who then spent at a black-owned department store, which in turn might purchase supplies of a black-owned wholesaler. This economic loop built incredible wealth. The community thrived on segregation, ironically turning a discriminatory system into an opportunity for internal growth. Denied services and opportunities in white areas, black residents had no choice but to create their own, leading to an explosion of black-owned businesses and services within Greenwood itself. Imagine walking through Greenwood's main street in the 1920s. 2 movie theaters, a dozen grocery stores, 21 churches, 30 restaurants, and even a hospital and a school system that were considered superior to many white public facilities. There were luxury shops, barber shops, beauty salons, and professional offices, all black-owned and operated. The economic prowess of Greenwood was staggering. The dollar bills circulated up to 36 times within the community, fostering an unprecedented level of prosperity and collective wealth. Many of Greenwood's residents were educated professionals, contributing to a vibrant intellectual and cultural scene. Residents enjoyed modern amenities like indoor plumbing and telephone lines, which were still considered luxuries in many parts of the country. Doctors, dentists, lawyers, and even airplane pilots called Greenwood home, creating a strong middle and upper middle class that was virtually unheard of for black Americans at the time. Real estate values skyrocketed, and homeownership was incredibly high among black families, building generational wealth that defied the systemic racism of the era. The spirit of entrepreneurship was contagious, inspiring new businesses and innovations within the district almost daily. It was a true testament to human ingenuity and resilience. The success wasn't accidental. It was built on hard work, collective effort, and a deep commitment to community upliftment. Churches served not only as places of worship, but also as centers for social organizing, education, and mutual aid, further strengthening the bonds within Greenwood. This was a blueprint for self-determination. The residents of Greenwood built an infrastructure of support and opportunity that allowed individuals to thrive, regardless of the discrimination they faced outside their district. They proved that black people, given the chance, could build prosperous, self-governing communities, laying bare the lie of white supremacy. Their success was a shining example. The phrase Black Wall Street wasn't just a catchy nickname. It was a reflection of the profound economic power and ambition concentrated in this 35-block district. This wealth allowed the community to fund its own schools, businesses, and even newspapers, giving residents a powerful voice and platform for their stories. They controlled their own narrative, but the very success and self-sufficiency of Greenwood stirred deep resentment and envy in some segments of the white population. The economic independence of black Americans challenged the racial hierarchy and threatened the prevailing social order, creating an atmosphere of growing tension. It was a powder keg waiting for a spark. On May 30, 1921, a young black man named Dick Rowland, a shoe shiner, entered an elevator in the Drexel building, operated by a 17-year-old white woman named Sarah Page. What exactly happened in that elevator remains a subject of historical debate, but Page later claimed Rowland had grabbed her arm. A clerk reported hearing her scream. Rowland was quickly arrested and charged. The local newspaper, the Tulsa Tribune, sensationalized the incident with a headline that read, "Nab Negro for attacking girl in an elevator." This inflammatory reporting, combined with widespread racist sentiments, ignited a furious reaction among many white residents. Fear and prejudice spread quickly. Rumors of a potential lynching began to circulate throughout Tulsa, reaching the ears of Greenwood residents who remembered previous instances of racial violence. Black World War I veterans, many of whom had fought for democracy abroad, were determined to protect Rowland and their community from a white mob. They had experienced too much injustice. On the evening of May 31st, a crowd of white residents gathered outside the courthouse, demanding Rowland be handed over. In response, a group of about 25 armed black men from Greenwood arrived, offering to help defend him. This show of defiance further enraged the white mob, escalating an already tense standoff. A confrontation ensued, and a shot was fired, though who fired first remains unknown. This single shot unleashed a wave of unimaginable violence. The white mob, now numbering in the thousands, descended upon Greenwood, not just with fists but with firearms, looting, and arson. The mob was armed and ready for destruction. The Tulsa Race Massacre had begun. For nearly 18 hours, from the night of May 31st into the afternoon of June 1st, Greenwood was systematically destroyed. White rioters, many deputized by local authorities, ransacked and burned homes and businesses, killing indiscriminately. It was a brutal act of domestic terrorism. Eyewitness accounts describe scenes of unspeakable horror, families trapped in burning homes, people shot on sight, and even reports of private planes being used to drop firebombs on the district, a shocking early instance of aerial bombardment on American soil. The skies above Greenwood turned black with smoke and ash. The official death toll was initially reported as 36, but modern historians and researchers estimate the number of black casualties could have been as high as 300, possibly even more. The bodies of victims were reportedly buried in mass graves or simply dumped, deliberately obscuring the true scale of the atrocity. The truth was suppressed. The destruction of property was almost total. Over 1,256 homes were burned, and 35 city blocks of what had been Black Wall Street were reduced to ashes. The once thriving economic hub, a symbol of black achievement and self-reliance, was annihilated, causing an estimated $1.5 million in damages in $1,921, equivalent to over $30 million today. Thousands of black residents were left homeless and traumatized, forced into internment camps under armed guard. Many survivors fled Tulsa, never to return, their lives and livelihood shattered. The massacre was not an accidental riot. It was a targeted act of economic and racial terrorism designed to dismantle black prosperity. Despite the overwhelming evidence of state and local government complicity, including the inaction of law enforcement and even their participation in the violence, no one was ever truly held accountable for the massacre. Insurance companies denied claims, citing right clauses, leaving survivors without compensation for their losses. Justice was denied. For decades, the Tulsa Race Massacre was effectively erased from public memory. Local officials and newspapers suppressed information, avoiding any mention of the event in history books or public discourse. Children in Tulsa grew up not knowing about the catastrophic event that took place in their own city, creating a painful historical void. It wasn't until the late 20th century that activists, historians, and descendants of survivors began to bring the hidden truth to light, demanding recognition and reparations. The Tulsa Race Riot Commission was established in 1997, leading to a comprehensive report in 2001 that detailed the massacre and its long-lasting impacts. The truth slowly emerged. Even today, the struggle for full justice and reparations continues. Survivors, now in their hundreds, have pursued legal action, but the path to meaningful compensation remains fraught with challenges. The scars of the massacre run deep, affecting generations of families and the economic trajectory of the entire community. It's a wound that still aches. The story of Black Wall Street is a powerful testament to the incredible resilience, ingenuity, and determination of Black Americans in the face of systemic oppression. It reminds us of what can be achieved through collective effort and economic self-determination, and the devastating consequences when those achievements are violently attacked. Their legacy endures. Today, efforts are underway to revitalize the Greenwood district, honoring its past while building a new future. Museums and cultural centers educate visitors about the massacre and the vibrant community that once existed, ensuring that its history is never again forgotten or suppressed. The story is finally being told. The lessons of Black Wall Street are more relevant than ever: the importance of economic empowerment, the dangers of unchecked racial hatred, and the critical need to confront and acknowledge difficult truths in our history. It is a story not just of destruction, but of incredible creation and enduring spirit. What would the world be like if Black Wall Street had been allowed to flourish unimpeded? The foundation of Tulsa's Greenwood district was not accidental, but a deliberate act of resilience and self-determination following Reconstruction. After the Civil War and the collapse of Reconstruction-era promises, many African Americans sought new opportunities in the West. Oklahoma, particularly its Indian Territory, offered a unique chance to build self-sufficient communities away from the strictures of the Jim Crow South. This migration laid the groundwork for Greenwood. O.W. Burley, an affluent black landowner, purchased 40 acres in Tulsa in 1906, specifically designating it for black settlement. He envisioned a community where African Americans could live, work, and thrive without external interference, fostering economic independence and social solidarity. Burley's vision was instrumental in attracting other black entrepreneurs. The establishment of segregated facilities, while a product of discriminatory laws, paradoxically fueled Greenwood's internal economy. Black residents built their own businesses, schools, and hospitals, recirculating wealth within the community and creating a vibrant, self-sustaining ecosystem that became known as Black Wall Street. This economic isolation fostered incredible growth. Before the devastating events of 1921, Greenwood boasted an impressive array of businesses and professional services. Greenwood was home to over 300 black-owned businesses, including 2 movie theaters, a hospital, numerous grocery stores, and professional offices for doctors, lawyers, and dentists. The district also had its own school system, library, and multiple churches, creating a comprehensive community infrastructure. This self-reliance was a source of immense pride. The community's success was largely due to the collective investment of its residents and the dollar circulation principle. Money earned by black residents was largely spent within Greenwood, supporting black businesses and generating further wealth. This economic model fostered rapid growth and prosperity for its citizens, creating a powerful local economy. Beyond businesses, Greenwood had its own robust financial institutions, including several banks and a robust real estate market. This allowed residents to secure loans, build homes, and invest in the community's future without relying on external, often discriminatory, white-owned institutions. The self-funding nature was a key to its independence. The social fabric of Greenwood was as rich and vital as its economic success, fostering a unique cultural identity. Churches served as central pillars of the Greenwood community, providing spiritual guidance, social support, and often acting as organizing centers for civil rights efforts. They were places of worship, but also vital hubs for community meetings, educational programs, and cultural gatherings. Their influence extended far beyond Sunday sermons. Music and entertainment flourished within Greenwood, with jazz clubs, juke joints, and theaters offering vibrant cultural experiences. These venues not only provided recreation but also served as spaces for artistic expression and community building, reflecting the district's dynamic spirit. Musicians found a welcoming and enthusiastic audience. Educational opportunities were highly valued in Greenwood, with residents establishing and supporting their own schools at a time when public education for black children was severely underfunded and segregated. The pursuit of knowledge was seen as essential for individual advancement and the collective progress of the community, fostering aspirations. The racial tensions leading up to the 1921 massacre were deeply rooted in the broader American context of Jim Crow and white supremacy. The early 20th century in America was marked by widespread racial segregation, disenfranchisement, and violence against African Americans, particularly in the South and border states like Oklahoma. Jim Crow laws enforced strict separation and subordination, creating an environment of systemic injustice. These laws were a constant threat. The economic success of Greenwood, often referred to as Black Wall Street, generated envy and resentment among some white Tulsans. This prosperity challenged prevailing racist narratives of black inferiority and economic dependence, making the community a target for hostility and undermining the established racial hierarchy. The rise of the Ku Klux Klan and other white supremacist groups during this period further intensified racial animosity. Their rhetoric and actions often incited violence against black communities, creating a climate of fear and insecurity that directly contributed to the explosive events that would devastate Greenwood. Their presence was deeply felt. The aftermath of the Tulsa Race Massacre saw a prolonged struggle for justice, recognition, and rebuilding that continues to this day. In the immediate wake of the massacre, many survivors were left homeless and traumatized, forced to live in tent cities. Despite immense challenges and systemic efforts to prevent their recovery, the residents of Greenwood began the arduous task of rebuilding their community, demonstrating incredible resilience and determination in the face of devastation. For decades, the Tulsa Race Massacre was largely omitted from history books and public discourse, a deliberate suppression known as the conspiracy of silence. Survivors and their descendants fought tirelessly to bring the truth to light, ensuring that the atrocities committed were not forgotten despite official efforts to erase them. Recent years have seen increased efforts to commemorate the massacre, including the establishment of the Greenwood Cultural Center and the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre Centennial Commission. These initiatives aim to educate the public, honor the victims, and pursue reparative justice for the descendants of the survivors, acknowledging past wrongs. Would you have invested in a community like Black Wall Street, knowing the risks but also the immense potential for growth and self-sufficiency? Tell us your thoughts in the comments below, and let's keep this important conversation alive. Don't forget to like this video, share it with others, and subscribe to Free My People Ministries for more untold stories and historical revelations.